to the PressBox.
Today, I consider myself the luckiest man on the face of the earth.
0.9. Tie game at 72. Illinois to inbound to the corner. Brandon Paul looking to inbound. Gets it to Griffey. Layup. Oh!
Smith, court 20 to right, down the line. It may go. Go crazy, folks. Go crazy.
Williams to tie it with a three. He goes. And we are going to game 7.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the PressBox Live here on Clubhouse Lounge Radio. I am Keith Gibson in the Clubhouse Lounge Radio studios this evening, and with me, my tag team partners. It's like a six-man tag team match here. Over the TP in Tolono, we've got Scotty Johnson and Daniel Peratt. DP back with us this week. Hey, happy belated birthday. I know it's a week late, but we got you back this week. And a great-looking shirt you got on, too.
I appreciate you, Keith. Appreciate that. 41 never looks so good, I guess.
Hey, 41's great. I'd love to be 41. Nah, I don't know about that. I've got 45 coming up. But gentlemen, how are you this evening?
Doing good. Excited to be back. And as always, we got a lot to talk about and kind of a little different pace this week than we've kind of talked the last few weeks, especially referring to some Illini basketball. But we will get into that a little bit later.
Yeah, we will. We'll talk Illini basketball. We're going to talk NASCAR. We get all revved up for the Daytona 500 this weekend. And we're going to make some picks on that, too. I have no clue what I'm doing, but I read a little bit. Hey, I did some research.
Okay.
I think we're going to be all right on this, Scotty. I'm going to learn throughout this NASCAR season. We're going to talk a little bit about that. We're going to kick things off with a little Super Bowl recap and talk Winter Olympics, the hottest things going right now. And we'll talk some spring training because pitchers and catchers reported this week, gentlemen, and it's a good thing. I mean, spring's around the corner.
Yeah. Baseball.
Yeah, listen to you. You got your NASCAR. Daniel and I'll keep the baseball thing going for you. But, hey, let's get into it. Super Bowl 60. Big spectacle.
Boring.
The second highest watched Super Bowl, though, in history. I believe in my notes here, 124 million viewers. That's a lot of people, gentlemen.
That is a lot.
And I will agree. It was a pretty boring Super Bowl. It really was. But the Illini were well represented with Devin Witherspoon there. But, yeah, Patriots came out really flat and pretty much stayed flat all night long. And kudos to the Seahawks for the defensive job they did, don't you think?
I agree. I mean, you know, we kind of said that last week that we kind of thought it would be a Seahawks-controlled game. Maybe didn't quite think it was going to be that controlled. But, you know, a little bit of a snooze fest if you ask me. But overall, you know, predictions are halfway right there, and the Seahawks take the win.
DP, were you surprised at all at how flat the Patriots came out and the offense just couldn't get anything going?
I was very surprised by that. Another thing I want to touch base on with that is last time we talked about Drake May in the playoffs, how he had 6 turnovers in the first 2 weeks of the playoffs, and then he played a clean game in Denver. This game, he threw 2 picks and had a fumble, and the two possession game and the difference at the end, 29-13. Drake May was very flat.
I'm not sure if you can really put the interceptions and the turnovers on him this week, though, on that game, the Super Bowl. The guy was getting rushed and had no protection whatsoever. And I know the offensive line for the Patriots got a lot of flack, especially Miller, the left tackle, got a lot of flack during that game. But they were starting an entire rookie left guard and left tackle. Your entire blind side for Drake May was a rookie tandem. They got through the playoffs, but gentlemen, if it's Super Bowl, the Seahawks did a great job of exploiting that because they pressured them all day long.
Yep, you're absolutely right. I mean, the Patriots O-line, you know, probably one of the key factors to the final score of that game. I would say, we said Drake May is going to have to be absolutely perfect to win that game, and unfortunately, with the line the way it was, and I don't think Drake May ever had the opportunity to be perfect, which in result cost the Super Bowl.
Well, yeah, I don't think he was ever able to find a rhythm at all. I mean, he was dancing around the pocket, worried about taking a shot every single snap he took. I was surprised they didn't try more screen passes, these little short dump passes out to the tight end, just something to get him going and get some of that pressure off. But they never did. But kudos, to the Seahawks. Anything surprise you out of that game? Anything? Like 5 field goals?
Things that did surprise me is when Witherspoon came out and said he said in one of his post game press conferences that they studied a lot of film on that game, and there were some tells from that O-line, and particularly what is his name? I got it written down here somewhere. Mike Inowu from Michigan. He was given tells, and you could tell which gap he was going to. He was leaning towards the A gap or the B gap, or he was straight up and down because he's going to have to move lateral. And Witherspoon said that they did a lot of study on that tape and a lot of film, and coach put them in the right direction, and they were able to get to the quarterback easily because of the tells at the O-line.
Isn't that crazy that the little tiny little things though can open up so much? I mean, it's just, and Witherspoon had a heck of a ball game. To me, he was the defensive MVP for the Seahawks. Kenneth Walker, as Scotty, as you and I talked last week, he had to run the ball well. They did. So yeah, it wasn't the shootout I think everybody thought it might be, and it wasn't very fun. But it was a Super Bowl.
It was.
Hey, which halftime show did you watch?
I actually saw both. I was able to have them both on at the same time, different TVs, and I don't dig into the political side of it because it shouldn't be. If the Bad Bunny show all in Spanish was interesting to you and you like the vibe, good for you. That's fine. It wasn't my cup of tea. The Turning Point halftime show was pre-recorded, kind of a different stage, as far as the outdoor football field. But, I don't know. It's just whatever floats your boat. I don't know why it's got to be such a divide. But that's
either.
kind of the world we live in.
Because that's exactly bingo, Scotty. I watched both. I did. I watched the Turning Point at halftime, and then watched Bad Bunny after the game was over, thanks to YouTube. I thought both were great. I really do. I thought both sent great messages. I thought both were good. Kudos to both. DP, your thoughts?
My wife said we're not turning the channel. We're going to leave it here. We're going to see what this Bad Bunny stuff is about, and we watched that. I was, however, able to watch Turning Point USA later. Like Scotty said, pre-recorded. Wasn't the same atmosphere as a Super Bowl. They only had a few fans there versus thousands and thousands and thousands of people for the Super Bowl. But that's what you get, I guess.
Yeah. I was a little disappointed that Turning Point was pre-recorded. I'm not going to lie. I thought maybe it'd be live, but, a couple of things I want to throw at you guys before we move on to the Winter Olympics here. So I looked back at viewership for the Super Bowl over the last 10 years or so. And roughly for the last 8 years, last 3 years have been over 120,000 viewers, or 120 million viewers. But before that, it was like right around that 100,000 mark. Do you think globally, with the NFL going overseas and playing in Europe and playing in Mexico, and they got 9 games coming up next season in different countries, do you think that's helping viewership of the Super Bowl and like every week as well? Do you think that's really helping globally? Because you look at the numbers, you're like, man, that's 20 million extra people that have tuned in that weren't tuning in before.
I do personally. I think it absolutely accounts for some of that. It's really cool when they go over and play in Europe, and they're getting to see different teams every year over there, and you got these fans that are I mean, maybe not like diehard fans because they just don't have access to it every day like we do. But they're buying the jerseys and they're buying the apparel and they're rooting for the teams and they're just as excited as one of the diehards here in the States. And I think it's really cool that they get to do that and go down to Mexico and do the same thing. And um, I think that does account for probably some of the higher numbers that you're starting to see.
DP?
I truly believe that it does increase and help the viewership. And like Scotty said, the diehards over there are buying the jerseys, and they're committed to it. They like their players, they like the teams, and they're watching it. They're staying up with their being a fan or being a fanatic of the sport and following certain teams and players.
I think it's a great thing. I'm waiting for the day when you end up with a team in Europe. I
That's
think
what
that will come sooner or later, and you'll see teams travel. I think they'll play at home. Yeah, I don't think you'll see them travel back and forth a whole lot. Excuse me, but I think maybe half of the season they're going to be playing in Europe. Half the season they'll play away games at the States or something like that. But I think there comes a day in the next probably 2-3 years you're seeing a team in Europe.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask you, Keith, is how long do you think that is? Because it is coming. And I do think the scheduling conflicts that they'll figure out, I mean, I don't think those are a big deal. I think they will figure those out. They're going to see, 2, 3, 4 home game stands in a row, maybe a bye week, and then go on the road for 3 or 4. It's going to be spaced out where they do have that time. But yeah, I think it's coming. I really do.
I do too, without a doubt, and I think it's going to be good for the game because the Pro Bowl's not. I do think it's good for the game. I think it's good for marketing, and I think Europe would be the first place. I'm still not sure if I want to see how the games go in Mexico this year, though. I do. I'm interested in that to see what kind of fan base and fans they have down there. It'll be interesting to see because there's a lot of following down there. So, but yeah, I do see. Go ahead, Scotty.
If NFL expands to Europe or Mexico, another country, does the name change? Does the NFL change from National Football League to Global Football League?
That's a good question. Yeah, maybe.
It's similar to the same page as MLB. They call it the World Series because there is, teams in Canada. So they can get away with using World Series instead of National Series or whatever. But yeah, I mean, if you do expand, whether it's an expansion itself or a team moves, I think you have to look at the idea of the NFL is, I mean, I don't know how you change the NFL, but it's not the National Football League anymore at that point.
Correct. My favorite thing about them playing in Europe is, and I'll say this quickly when we move on to the Winter Olympics, is the fact that when they play in Europe, that game's at 8 a.m. Usually on the NFL Network. So you got games at 8, you got games at noon, you got game at 3, and you got game at 6. That's the best part of it.
That is. It's pretty fun.
All right, let's move on to the Winter Olympics. Going on right now over in Europe itself and in Italy, right?
Italy, yeah.
Italy. Boot. But hey, USA doing quite well. I know Scotty and DP and myself, we all love curling.
Absolutely.
I love watching curling. I do. And I still want to figure out how they do it.
Well, I think we got a couple of years, us three maybe get together and start a little
push that broom and
maybe we could qualify for the Olympics.
Well, those guys are in good shape.
They are in good shape.
But they aren't in shape. When I saw one guy with a big old beer belly.
They look like beer drinking dads is what they look like, the men's team at least. That's why I love it because it.
What do you think is on people's screens right now?
It's awesome.
It is awesome. It is.
Yeah, I like the curling. That's pretty cool. It's exciting. With the stones they call them, not pucks or not discs. It's the stones, and then the target they're throwing at is called the house. So it's kind of similar to bags. Maybe you're trying to get it in the hole, or maybe darts. The bullseye, or I don't know. It's kind of fun. I like it.
I do too. DP, what is your favorite? Is curling your favorite too?
Curling's one of my favorites to watch. I also like to watch speed skating a lot. how they get going onto those straightaways and come into the turns and just glide so smoothly, almost like a slick lizard. But yeah, I like to watch speed skating and curling probably the most.
I love hockey. I love men's and women's. I love watching the hockey. I think the competition is so good in the Olympics, and it's so much fun to watch because you see so much pride when they're in playing hockey. And the women, the men's, the USA women are doing fantastic. They're 4-0 in group play right now. So, the sky's the limit. I think, Scotty, what's the medal count right now? USA's got to be the top what?
They're in the top 3. I don't have it as of today, but they were top 3. I think 12 or 13 medals coming into today. So, yeah, top 3. I know they had a few of them in alpine skiing, 1 in cross country skiing, 1 in curling, 2 in figure skating, 3 in freestyle skating, 1 in the luge, and 1 in speed skating. So kind of a nice little mix right now.
Right. And the luge, women's luge, first time that an American has ever medaled in that. And then kudos to Lindsey Vonn, by the way. And I know she's getting a lot of flack from a lot of people, but she's out there, and it broke my heart that she, broke her leg and had the accident. But she was back out there trying for it again. And so I saw a quote, and if you wear America across USA across your chest, there is so much pride, and you can see it in all these athletes. And it's awesome to watch, and it should bring a country together right now. That's my thoughts and my take.
Yep, I agree. I think we can touch base more on the Olympics next week too. We'll have a better idea once it's getting closer to the end. But just fun for these last couple weeks, or last week and next week, a couple weeks of some different sports out there.
Right. And one of my favorites in the winter too is when they do like the cross country skiing, the shooting, like at the triathlon.
Oh, yeah.
And these guys they're going for miles doing it too. It's crazy. So many different sports, but yeah, I digress. But all right, we'll take a quick break, and we will come back, and we'll get you ready for the Daytona 500. So make sure you got those seatbelts strapped in, because Scotty's going to lead the way, because I don't know much about NASCAR. I know how to drive, but that's about it. But we'll be right back here on the PressBox Live on Clubhouse Lounge Radio.
Whether it's your first home or your forever home, Jen Wright at Midwest Mortgage in Champaign will focus on your goals, not just the numbers. Jen Wright will uncover options, build your strategy, and make this journey clear, simple, and stress-free. Let Jen Wright at Midwest Mortgage find solutions that fit your busy life. Call Jen today at 217-778-0598. Because your home should work for you, not the other way around. Jen Wright, Midwest Mortgage, NMLS, number 2105305.
Welcome back to the PressBox Live here on a Thursday night on Clubhouse Lounge Radio. I'm Keith Gibbs. Alongside me over in the TP in Tolono, we've got DP and Scotty J joining us this evening. And gentlemen, we're going to talk a little NASCAR. Time to rev the engines up. It's the Daytona 500 weekend, the big start to the season. Scotty, I know you are excited. And I've got some questions for you. Because I'm learning. I did some research. I did some work.
I like it. I'm ready for your questions, but I'm ready for the Daytona 500. It's a long off season there for NASCAR fans, and we're finally back. And what's kind of like I'm not going to call it the Super Bowl of NASCAR, but it's the Daytona 500 is up there with some of the top, and it's the first race of the year, so. Well, it's pretty exciting.
They time it perfectly because March Madness hadn't started yet. The Super Bowl's over. Baseball hasn't started. I think that's why it's so well watched. And I mean, everybody parties and gets ready because it's like, what else you gonna do?
Yeah,
I'm kind of figuring that out. I'm like, well, I can watch Daytona this weekend.
Absolutely.
Right, let's talk about a little bit about NASCAR. So a couple things. They brought back the chase, which I like. I like what they're doing with this, Scotty. What's your thoughts instead of going from the playoffs to the chase back this year?
No, I love that move. It's a move they got away from for a few years and introduced the playoffs where drivers would get eliminated throughout the playoffs. And then it comes down to the drivers would get eliminated throughout the playoffs.
The playoffs.
That's what they called it. And so now we're back to the chase, which, yeah, I like that move. It just kind of levels out the playing field a little more, especially when you introduce these road tracks. But yeah, so same thing at the end of the regular season, top 16 drivers make the chase. And then from there, it's a tiered point system. So the start of the chase, whoever won the regular season will start about 75 points higher than the second place. And then after second place, it's about 5-point deductions from there to the rest of the 16.
But all 16 race in every race in the finals, right? Like the end of the season, the last
Correct.
10 races.
Yeah, all 16 plus the other 30 drivers or other 25 drivers. But yeah, only those 16 really matter for the points.
But correct me if I'm wrong, but if you've got a teammate who's out of the chase, could still help you get even higher in the chase. There's a lot of teamwork, shake and bacon going on.
Absolutely. There is a lot of teamwork, and not only just teams, but a lot of times you'll see manufacturer teams. So like if I'm not teammates with Daniel, but we're both driving Chevys, being a Chevy driver, he's going to tend to work with me, because Chevy wants us to. But
right.
But yeah, also, your teammates are going to be a big part of, a lot of strategy that goes into these races. And that's what a lot of the races are is these cars they're all so good and they're all so close together as far as skill. A lot of strategy comes into these races.
Let's talk about a little skill because in my research, which I'm pretty proud if you can't tell, I did some research on this. I'm trying to learn.
Cool.
Connor Zilish, did I say that right?
Yeah, close.
19 years old, and he could be a hero or he could be a zero. Kid is what I've read on him and did a little research on this is that he has been phenomenal at every stop and every vehicle he's ever driven. He's 19 years old. He's got a chance to make some headway, a big time, this year in the NASCAR series.
Yeah, a rookie driver coming in, did great last year in the Xfinity series, and kid's raced his whole life. And like a lot of these guys, you'll hear stories about, they started at 3-4 years old racing go-karts, and they've just been around it their whole life. But yeah, Connor's got a chance now. He's got himself into a big car, and he's going to be racing on Sundays. And he's got a lot. He's got a lot ahead of him. I think he's got a long career ahead of him. I think he's going to run into some a little bit of trouble this year as far as, he's been dominating pretty much the last several years. I don't think he dominates like he has been, but I think as a young kid and coming in and he got a spot on Sundays, I think he's going to be fun to watch.
If he wins the Daytona 500 this weekend, does everybody kind of just stop and be like, what just happened?
Well, I'll tell you one thing about the Daytona 500. It's if any race is a coin flip, it's probably the Daytona 500. There's a lot of races where some drivers are just better at that track, and there's a lot of races where that manufacturer, that team is just better at that track. But the Daytona 500 is a track where you have to be in line, and I mean they run usually 2 to 3 lines in the Daytona 500. And if you're not in line getting pushed, then you're going to the back of the pack as quick as you can, start your engine. It's just one of those races that it's pedal to the metal the whole way. There's not much braking, and you have to stay in line and you have to be very strategic. It's really
cool. You're
going
to see a lot of 3 wide. You're not going to see a lot of that this weekend.
You will when it comes down to the end for sure, but you're going to see a lot of guys stay in line and not give up their position, because if one guy jumps out of line hoping, 4 or 5 more come with him, then, it's a risk because it could work out well, but it also, you jump out of line and nobody comes with you, you're shooting straight to the back of the pack. It's a race that on the last lap, it's not really ideal to be in first place.
Yeah, just someone's got to make a move.
Somebody's going to make a move, and I think on that last lap where I would want to be sitting is about 4th or 5th.
Well, a guy who hasn't seen the winner's circle in 24 races, Kyle Larson, comes in. He won the first, I think, three out of the first four last year, and then just went drought. He's on a 24 race drought. Like that stat, huh? Yeah. But he's here now. What's his odds this weekend? Does he get back in the winner's circle? Do you
Kyle
even
Larson?
care? Yeah.
Kyle Larson won the championship last year.
Yeah, but he didn't win a race after the first three or four.
I mean, Kyle Larson's good, but Kyle Larson doesn't win the Daytona 500.
Well, I like your honesty. That's why it's real talk. Real talk around here.
I'm a Kyle Larson hater.
I thought that was apparently. I just thought that was a crazy stat that you could win three of the first four and then just kind of go.
Yeah, it's all point system. He's always a top 10 driver. I mean, he's the kid's solid. He's really good. But I'm a Kyle Busch fan, and that guy hasn't seen the victory lane in a couple years. So we're gonna hope that changes this year. But I think the big thing for this year, William Byron's coming off a two-time Daytona 500 champion. He's another young driver driving the old Jeff Gordon number 24 for Hendrick. That's a guy that's coming off a two-time, two in a row. Doesn't happen very often. Got to maybe keep your eye on.
DP, your thoughts?
I like Joey Logano for the Daytona 500. I know Scotty says it's a coin flip. It's a coin flip, but obviously not for Kyle Larson. But I'll take Logano as my favorite this weekend. And
That's crazy.
I like Denny Hamlin as a close second.
You know what's crazy?
Did you look at my sheet?
I did not.
What's crazy is that's great. Well, the reason I say this is crazy because my pick to win this weekend was Logano. I looked down and I'm like, oh, he drives a Ford. I'm like, I like Fords. I'm like, I'm picking Logano. I like the name too. I like saying Logano. I know he's good. He's got a chance to win it this weekend. But yeah, it's going to be fun. I'm really looking forward to this weekend and the Daytona 500. I plan on watching it, trying to stay awake through it. I don't think I've ever stayed awake through a race. I'm going to be honest, Scotty. I enjoy the pre-race festivities and about the first 40 to 50 laps, and then that Sunday afternoon nap kicks in.
That's all right.
And then I wake up with about 20, 25 to go.
You're going to make the trip with us when we go. We go to the Illinois 300 down in St. Louis, and it's a good time. And the first time I went a couple years ago, we went with cousins, brothers, buddies, took a big group down there, and I actually learned about NASCAR and actually got to be physically there, feel the vibrations and feel the just being in that atmosphere it's intense. It's intense.
Start calling you Marky the funky bunch over there.
I actually learned a lot how much you have to strategically when you pit, when you take a risk. And this particular race that we actually went to, was it Byron? Who was it on the last lap? That he ran out of gas on the final turn. And he was leading for multiple laps, and he took the risk of not pitting because he was going to hold his number one spot, and he went into the last turn, and he went to accelerate on the straightaway. He ran out of gas.
I think that was Ryan Blaney. Now I think Austin Cindric passed him on the last lap because he ran out of gas.
And that's going to be key this weekend, Scotty.
Yeah, I mean,
pit
fuel
stops.
Management, tire management. Yeah, exactly. Another big thing that we're looking at this year is there's some different crew chiefs out there. There's some team changes, some driver changes. So you have some new teams working together. We're going to have to see those dynamics and how they mesh. And hopefully this offseason they've got that stuff figured out. But I'll tell you my pick for the Daytona 500. Came so close last year for winning his first championship. He got hit with some tragedy over this offseason, losing his parents in a house fire. Give me Denny Hamlin to come out this year, not only to win the championship, but he's going to win the Daytona 500 and start the year off strong. I've got Denny Hamlin all the way this year.
Redemption Tour. That was my last point I was going to bring up to you. Great segue there. We didn't even talk about any of this. This is what I love about you guys over the TP in Toledo. Yeah, it's a year of redemption for Denny Hamlin, and it was a horrible off season for him, and I think he'll come back pretty strong this year as well. I I say that, and I really, he could come back 10 times better than he was last year, and it may not be any good, but hey, it sounds good.
Yeah.
Let me ask you one more quick question before we move on to spring training here. These pit stops, these guys, these teams, if you watch, it is like clockwork. I mean, it is amazing to watch these pit stops. What is probably the most important thing here at Daytona besides the fuel management, besides tires for these teams? Is it going to be the eye in the sky of kind of, helping these drivers out? Is that when these teams are looking, I know they've got an eye in the sky there and they're watching. Is that going to be the most important thing this week of when to make that move if you're going to make a move?
I think the most important thing, because it's a 500-mile race, it's 200 laps. I think the most important thing is just to stay clean and stay in line, because it's not one of those races that you need to be right there at the front at the end. If you stay in line and you're giving yourself a chance, there's going to be a big wreck. It always is, usually in the last 10 to 15 laps. I mean, wrecks that potentially take out half the field. That's going to happen. And that's what kind of makes the race really exciting and kind of scary. But I think the big thing is just stay in line, pick some good drafting partners. You bump them, they bump you, just clean. And it's going to put yourself an opportunity to make that move at the end, or at least go with somebody that is making that move when it comes to that time there, last couple laps.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. I'm just kind of looking over my notes here and look some of the races. There's a lot of new names out there this year too. A lot of younger drivers. You don't see the old dogs out there as much as you used to. So it'll be interesting. It'll be a fun time. But let's move on, because spring has brought pitchers and catchers to Arizona and Florida this week, as well as pitchers and catchers report for spring training. And there's a lot of big things happening as well. Justin Verlander signs back this week with the Tigers, which gives them a very formidable rotation. As far as our favorites go, Scotty, you've traded Brendan Donovan to Seattle. You've traded Wilson Contreras. You've traded Nolan Arenado. You traded Sonny Gray. Who's going to play for the Cardinals? I do see they're giving away $6 weekday tickets because they try to get fans. But boy, goodness, I hate to pick on you, I do. But it's going to be a rough season for the Cardinals. It really is. And real talk here, I'm not sure who wins more games, the Cardinals or the White Sox. And I'm being dead serious. I'm not making fun. I'm really not. I'm being dead serious as a baseball guy. I think the White Sox have proven enough that they're going to be better than the Cardinals.
Yeah, that's tough. That's tough to be compared to the White Sox.
It is right now.
It's been a little anxious just with everything going on. I kind of sit around my phone. I don't know if I'm going to get that phone call to suit up and go down to St. Louis, because at this point, I don't know who's playing for the Cardinals, and it's going to be a long season.
The other thing that I've noticed with spring training is that, the talk is the Dodgers. They just keep improving. They keep spending money. The Mets do the same thing. Gentlemen, baseball fans need to realize that they need to enjoy this season, because I'm not sure there's going to be baseball next year. I think the CBA's up after this year, the collective bargaining agreement, and enjoy baseball while you got it. So get out to a game, whether it's a Cardinal game, a Sox game, a Cub game, wherever you go. But it's going to be, just enjoy the summer, because I have a feeling contract negotiations aren't going to go real well after this year.
And speaking of, getting out to a game, Keith, we got a pretty fun event going on this summer. Cubs-Cardinals game, rooftop.
Yep. We've got tickets available, raffle tickets, 1 for 10, 3 for 20. You can contact me, or you can contact Scotty or DP, and we'll get you some tickets. Only selling 200 of them. And we're going to give away a pair. You can join the clubhouse gang on the rooftop, all inclusive. You take the train up with us, take the train home with us. All your food and drink at the rooftop is included. Anywhere else we might venture to, maybe Murphy's, Cubby Bear, 6, 7 other different places before and after the game. You never know. But yeah, you can get your raffle tickets from us. And I've sold we're going to draw July 4th. So we're gonna, go out with a bang, if you will. But I've sold about 40 already, so there's about 160 left. So contact us and we'll get you some tickets. Yeah, it'll be a fun summer. It'll be a fun summer of baseball. DP, you're a big baseball guy. What are you looking forward to? What's got your eye?
Cubs baseball always. I love the Cubs. That starting lineup looks great. The pitching rotation looks good as well, and I think we're moving in the right direction.
I do too, brother. I do too. I think the addition of Bregman was big. It solidifies our third base. I love what Matt Shaw did last year, but I think him as a utility guy and being able to move around and give Dansby a day off and give Nico a day off is great. I think our bench is a lot better, stronger than it was last year. Our rotation, we're deep rotation. You're talking about Javier Assad being able to come up and maybe take that Colin Ray, taking that fifth spot, but also being a long guy in the bullpen. I think our bullpen is better. I'm really excited for Cubs baseball. The Brewers traded a lot of their talent away, too. They traded Freddie Peralta for a team that won the division last year. Really, if the Cubs don't win this division, and I'm going to say this right now, if we don't win this division, it's a disappointment for the Cubs this season. Hands down.
Totally agree. Totally agree. That
When-
pitching
when you're-
rotation, you got Horton, Boyd, Cabrera, Imiaga, and Talon. Then you've got Bush, Bregman, Happ, Suzuki, PCA, Nico Horner, Ballesteros, Swanson, and Kelly. That's dirty. That's dirty. That's
It
a lot of
is.
money out there they spent. Thankfully, we didn't have to sign a big contract for Tucker, but I don't think we lost a lot there, to be honest.
I don't
with you.
either.
He didn't really show it at the end of the year, and I did buy the jersey, which I knew once I bought the jersey, he was probably going to get traded or not be re-signed anyway. And yeah, I bought the Kyle Tucker jersey, and he's gone.
It's all right. It happens. That's why I don't buy jerseys anymore. One name I want Cub fans and the Cardinal fans to know this name too. Cubs signed him in a minor league deal and invited him to spring training. Was Dylan Carlson. Keep your eye out because I think he's going to play a big role for the Cubs in 2026. I think he has a good spring. You're going to see him as a fourth outfielder, and I think he's coming with a lot of focus too, from what I've seen so far this spring. So, but baseball, I'm excited for baseball to get back. I'm excited for I know with baseball, either you love watching baseball or you can't stand it. There's not really an in between but the games are shorter now with the pitch clock. There's a lot of different things, parts moving. So it'll be fun. It'll be fun. All right, gentlemen, let's take a break. We'll come back and we will talk Illini basketball. And it was a rough week for Illini basketball in the last week. So we'll take a quick break and be right back here on the PressBox Live on Clubhouse Lounge Radio, brought to you by Jen Wright and Midwest Mortgage Group.
You work hard to keep your car running and your home safe. That's why it's an easy choice to turn to Country Financial for car and home insurance you can count on. Jordan McDaniel and Country Financial have provided insurance and protected families like yours for more than 100 years. That's the kind of stability you can trust. Start protecting your car and your home today. Call Jordan McDaniel, your Country Financial representative in Savoy, at 217-352-9817 for a free quote today.
Welcome back to the PressBox Live on Clubhouse Lounge Radio. I'm Keith Gibson, the Clubhouse Lounge Radio Studios, and over in the TP in Tolono, we've got Scotty Johnson and DP with us this evening, and we've talked a little Super Bowl recap. We talked Winter Olympics, gentlemen. We've talked a little NASCAR with the Daytona 500 gearing up this weekend, and we talked a little spring training baseball because pitchers and catchers reported. But now we're going to get into our bread and butter, Illini sports. And we've got a new defensive coordinator, Scotty.
Yeah, I think I'm excited about this. We'll start off
I
the
am too.
Illinois segment on some positive news. Montana head coach Bobby Hauck, first-time defensive coordinator. There was some weird stuff that happened this past week. Brett Bielema said he cannot announce the new defensive coordinator hire until after the Super Bowl. So there was a lot of speculation, like Portridge of the Seahawks possibly becoming our new DC. And then Bobby Houck of Montana retires on the same day as he's announced as our new DC. But he's got some stats that come with him.
He puts together a very aggressive defense.
And I think that's the big thing for Coach B is, he talked about a new defensive scheme coming, and I think it's time. I think they're due for that. Some of the stats that Bobby Houck is bringing, top 5 in the Big Sky for turnovers forced for the last 6 seasons. So top 5 in the Big Sky Conference turnovers forced last 6 seasons. That's a pretty good stat. Also top 5 in the Big Sky for scoring defense and a total defense the last 7 seasons straight. So a couple good stats on his defense there. And then the big ones, top 10 in the nation in turnovers forced the last 3 of 5 seasons, and top 20 in the nation in scoring defense the last 3 of 5 seasons. So, Bobby Houck, we might have not heard of him here in Champaign, but he's got some stats that come with him. Him and Coach B have a good relationship. And I think at this point, video we were watching earlier, I think Coach B has earned some trust. And Coach B, this is a Coach B decision. So I think as an Illinois football fan, we got to sit back, be excited about it because it is exciting, and trust the process.
I agree. DP, what's your thoughts on the hire?
Oh, I love it. I didn't know much about the guy until I did a little research. He brings in a 3-3-5, which is a different defensive set, and I hope that we can adapt to it, and it takes off, and we begin to create more turnovers.
Well, I think that's one thing that we've really lacked is the aggressiveness on the defensive side of the football too. And I think Houck will bring that to the table. My only worry is implementing this new defensive strategy is, do we have the personnel to fit this? And this is where the trust in Coach B and knowing his players, knowing his guys comes in. And I think this is a great hire. Absolute great hire. Not only from the defensive standpoint, but I think Houck will also be a good culture standpoint as well.
I agree. I think the big thing that I liked, Houck's a football coach. He's been a football coach for a long time, and he said that's what he wants to do. He wants to coach football. He doesn't like the NIL stuff. He doesn't like the recruiting, and I think Coach B's doing a really good job at that side of it. So to bring a head coach in that just wants to focus on coaching, I like it. I like the move.
I do too. All right, let's move into Illini basketball, boys. And after we we went 12 in a row, Scotty. We talked last week. We're riding high. We're going into Michigan State. And it was, I don't like to get fired up about this, but about officials. But the officiating was awful. It was awful at Michigan State. Give me a break. And Fear shouldn't have been playing after kicking a guy in the nuts. Give me a break. The only reason he played is because Izzo wanted to play him so he could beat Illinois. That's it. And we didn't get a call. It was just awful. He tripped a kid. He tripped Mirkovic. I get fired up. We were the better team. We were the better team last Saturday night.
The last 5 minutes were tough to watch with the officiating, but the officiating does not change the fact that your current superstar Wagler shot 12%, went 2 for 16. That's a big one. And then this Illini basketball team that's been out rebounding every single team all year long, big reason for all their wins. They get out rebounded 48-38, so a -10 difference. That doesn't help. I'm not saying that they should have won this game. They shouldn't have won this game. The officiating was not good. I will agree. It's easy to say as an Illini fan, but those two stats right there, to me, I think they stand out when you're going to get out rebounded by 10, and then your superstar who's getting the most minutes shoots 12%. I mean,
DP, what's your thoughts on that game Saturday night?
Jeremy Fears is the dirtiest player in the nation.
Yes. Yeah.
He needs to be punished, needs to be looked into, investigated a little more. Maybe even before things started to show up, there could be some stuff out there if we watch videos. I don't know. I haven't done dug my digging into it, but he's a dirty one. He did have a great game. 15 assists. I think he had 26 points. He killed us. He killed us being there and playing the way he played. He played great, but he was dirty. Boswell couldn't be back soon enough at this point. I think we had a good stretch of games without him where we showed that we could make it happen. Obviously the Purdue and the Nebraska game. Both of those games we handled top 10 opponents on the road without Kylan. And just Tuesday night, we were without Stojakovic as well. Two stars that we really it's going to impact our points and our defense.
Well, and moving to Tuesday after that loss Saturday, you think, okay, you got Wisconsin at home. Who's they've got a couple road wins already too. It was a dogfight again in a game where I saw us get up 12, and Wagler came back to life. But you saw not having a point guard. Mirkovic turned the ball over in the backcourt. I don't know how many times. You just missed having Kylan on the floor running that point where Wagler doesn't have to do it, and he can be a two guard. He can bring it up some, and then you miss Stojakovic being able to do that too. You really noticed Tuesday night in that loss, especially an overtime loss, of those two not being on the floor.
Yeah, back-to-back overtime losses definitely hurts. Those are the days it's hard to be an Illinois fan. But I'll tell you one thing about the Wisconsin game. Illinois shot really well. 53% from the field, 45% from the three-point line. Those numbers right there should tell you they're going to win most of their games shooting like that. And then you get to these two numbers. 58% from the free throw line.
That's where I would, thank you. Yeah.
And then 13 turnovers. I mean, they have almost 30 turnovers the last 3 games, including the 40-point win against Northwestern, where they had 11. The turnovers has been an issue as of lately, the last month.
That's a Boswell factor.
I agree.
That is a Kylan Boswell not being on the floor. And you saw it Tuesday night when he and Stojakovic neither on the floor. There's no lead. You're talking Wagler and Mirkovic are both freshmen. And so when they're both on the floor, there's no veteran leadership there. Tommy V. Izovic had a great game, but there's only we're missing that when those two aren't in the game. You're missing something. There's just something missing. But I think these are good bad losses, if that makes sense.
Yeah, the Wisconsin loss is one that we said you got to take care of those wins at home. You got to take care of business. The Michigan State loss, it stings, especially against Tom Izzo, and don't get me started on Tom Izzo and the officiating. I mean, that one stings for sure. We watched the game together, and it was a quiet ride home. I will say that. But Wisconsin comes home after a Michigan State loss. I know you're down Stojakovic. I know you're down Boswell. You got to figure out a way to take care of business there at home.
Agreed. Go ahead, DP.
Yeah, the back to Scotty was saying about controlling the ball and the numbers that he didn't like at the end. The shooting percentages were down. Free throw shooting was down. 13 turnovers. Wisconsin actually had 23 points off those 13 turnovers. They turned the ball over 4 times, and we got 6 points off those turnovers. Huge differential there that really killed us. And another thing that I looked into that I saw is Keaton had 34 points. The rest of our starters had anywhere from 10 to 19 points. The rest of our team, the bench, 4 total points in 31 minutes. That cannot happen.
Correct.
We have to get production. We have to get production out of the bench, or we're not going to win games. Brad's a live and die by the 3 kind of guy, and it shows when we're not hitting our threes and we're turning the ball over. We're not going to win games.
Free throws win ball games, and Mirkovic went, I think, 1 of 4 from the line late in the game, and that he makes those free throws. We don't go to overtime.
Correct.
And so that stings. But we're coming back Sunday. It doesn't get any easier. I mean, Sunday we've got Indiana coming to town, and you better defend your home court because you've got Indiana Sunday.
Indiana just beat Purdue, which we know Purdue's a good basketball team. So Indiana beats Purdue a week or two ago. So Indiana's one of those middle of the road Big Ten teams that's going to be hungry, and they honestly they need this win for their resume for March more than Illinois needs this win.
Yeah, hands down. And then it doesn't get any easier, boys, because you go on the West Coast swing. You go to USC and UCLA next week, and then you come back home from Michigan. I mean, these next four, we're going to find out a lot about this Illini team and how really deep they can go into March in the next 4 games. How can they bounce back? Who's going to step up? And are we as good as we think we are?
Yeah,
agreed?
That's a good point. That's a great, yeah, I agree.
And by the way, the secondary market for tickets for Indiana and Michigan home games are insane right now, by the way.
Jeez.
I have seen as much as 200 section tickets and a parking pass for Indiana and Michigan. People are asking $550 and $600 for a pair of tickets and a parking pass.
Yikes.
I love it. Hey, if you have the money to pay for it, go for it. But you will find me on my couch right here in the studio watching that game and not paying that kind of money.
Hey, Shauna Green got her sellout, I saw.
She did, and they got a big win on Wednesday night too over Wisconsin, and they're still in the hunt. They're going to be a tournament team too, so the ladies are doing well too. But we got to turn it around quick, gentlemen, because I don't like losing. Not that I know you're going to lose some. Michigan State stings, but Wisconsin stings even harder.
I will say right now, I would rather lose right now, get the kinks figured out, rather than losing in March.
Yep, agreed. All right. Hey, let's take a quick break. We're going to come back, and we're going to get some final thoughts and talk high school basketball right here on the PressBox Live.
Spring is almost here, and that means more time on the road. At Cam's Auto Repair, we help you get your vehicle road ready after a long winter. From inspections and maintenance to the repairs that keep your family safe, our team takes the time to explain what your car needs so there are no surprises. You can book online through Google or at our website at camsautorepair.com or call 217-607-1477 to talk with Dale or Cody. Cam's Auto Repair, trusted car care done right.
Back here on the PressBox Live as we wrap up another episode here on Clubhouse Lounge Radio. Keith Gibson in the studio. Scotty Johnson, DP, Daniel Peratt over in the TP in Tolono. As we wrap it up, gentlemen, a good night of great talk. And, we're wrapping up a little bit and going to talk about some high school basketball. We got on the air tomorrow night, Friday evening, as the Tolono Unity Rockets go head-to-head with the Pontiac Indians and what will decide, more than likely, the Illini Prairie Conference standings.
Yeah, Rockets are still hot, coming off of a last Friday win versus St. Joe, which we got to do together, Keith. It was a crazy fast pace, crazy exciting game. Little chippy at the end. Fun game. Unity squeaks out an overtime win in that one, and then goes on the road, I believe, on Tuesday night and who they beat, IVC?
IVC, yeah. A win on IVC. So, yeah, the Rockets are playing very good basketball. Number 2 right now, ranked in Class 2A. And the pairings and regionals will be announced here the next couple of days where everybody's going and everybody's doing here Friday and Saturday. So, except for that, it's that time of year already, gentlemen. It's that time of year for high school regional basketball. Can you believe that? It is going fast.
It's come and gone really quick. Yeah.
Yeah, it has. But we'll be on air tomorrow night around 7 o'clock right here on Clubhouse Lounge Radio to bring you Unity Rocket Basketball with myself. And I don't know if Scotty's joining me or John's going to join me. But we'll be there ready for it. I do appreciate you, Scotty, running the camera last week because I don't know if I could have kept up with that fast pace. It was quite up and down all night long, but a fun game as always there at the Rockets Center. Great crowd too, from both St. Joe and Tolono. But DP, what's your final thoughts, brother, as we close up shop here on this Thursday evening?
I hope Illinois basketball can work out all the kinks and get things flowing again and get everybody healthy and prepare for March. Super Bowl's over. Can only look forward to next year. I did find an interesting statistic. 2004, the Eagles lost in the Super Bowl. 2005, Seattle Seahawks losing the Super Bowl. 2006 against the Colts, the Bears lose the Super Bowl. Fast forward 20 years now, 2024, the Eagles win the Super Bowl. Seahawks win in 25. Only hope the Bears will be there in 26.
I sure hope so. Bear down, baby. I love it. I love that stat. Other stat I want to throw out at you guys. You guys see that Sam Darnold, by the way, had to pay more in taxes to the state of California for his Super Bowl bonus than he actually made for his Super Bowl bonus?
Absolutely insane.
Tell me how that's fair to the players. Tell me
I
how
thought it
it's
was
fair
a
to anybody.
joke. I thought it was a
it's
joke.
legit. He paid $259,000 in taxes to the state of California since he was there for 7 days and made a $178,000 bonus. Now, he can afford it. Don't get me wrong, but he basically won the Super Bowl and MVP for free and actually owed money.
It cost him to play in the Super Bowl.
Yeah. Isn't that crazy? Scotty, what are your final thoughts from you on this week's Daytona 500?
First things first, Illini get things back rolling this weekend. They're fine. They're in good shape. They'll be all right. Daytona 500 Sunday, I will be glued to the seat and watching that. Pretty excited to bring some NASCAR views here this season on the PressBox. And, I think spring training, again, right around the corner. But
I love it. My final thoughts are, gentlemen, I'm glad we're doing this. And if you have not seen this week, hey, if you want to support Clubhouse Lounge Radio, make sure you reach out to us. And there's different ways you can support. We got the raffle tickets available. We're trying to play in some events. We got our Illini tailgate party coming up in October. There's different ways you can help support the station. We ask that you do so we can keep this going and keep the station going for a whole nother year because we enjoy doing this and bringing this to you. But other than that, let's same sentiments from you guys. I want the Illini to get a W this weekend over Indiana because there's nothing worse than hearing Indiana fans say we beat you, especially when you're at home. And I'm excited for the Daytona 500 as well. And I'm excited for Rocket Basketball. A lot of things going on, and spring trainings have started. This is the year, just like it is every year for Cub fans. So for my broadcast partners, DP and Scotty Johnson over in the TP in Tolono, I am Keith Gibson here in the Clubhouse Lounge Radio Studios. Have a great night, everybody, and thanks for joining us on the PressBox Live.